सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। In continuing the discussion with personality chart, today we are going to discuss the last one, renunciation, tyaga. We have finished right up to happiness, sukham, and we are moving into the last one, which is known as the tyaga. Again, the tyaga renunciation, he divides it into three types: the sattvic, the rajasic, and the tamasic. Sattvic renunciation, I am reading from the text. Sattvic renunciation is relinquishment of attachment and fruit while performing obligations in life. The practice of sattvic renunciation is functioning objectively in the world, merely fulfilling obligatory duties and responsibilities, with no preferential attachment to action performed and no expectation of enjoyment of fruit thereof. It is therefore not renunciation of action as such. Ironically, sattvic renunciation is defined as performance of action that ought to be done without appendages burdening it. Rajasic renunciation. Rajasic renunciation is giving up action that is painful out of fear of bodily strain or suffering. In such cases, one would take up the action when the element of pain or fear of suffering is removed. That is no renunciation. Consequently, it is deprived of the fruit of true renunciation. Tamasic renunciation. Tamasic renunciation is relinquishment of one's obligatory duties out of delusion. A human being has to perform two types of duties. One is his regular routine duties as a member of a family, society, nation, etc. The other is occasional special duties. But in ignorance, he is confused as to his duty and responsibility and discards what ought to be done. That is tamasic renunciation. Now, the three renunciation that we discuss. Sattvic renunciation. Sattvic renunciation is performance of obligations. Rajasic renunciation is avoiding obligations because of pain, because of bodily strain or suffering. Tamasic renunciation is relinquishment of obligatory duties itself. Tamasic renunciation is not doing obligatory actions. Rajasic renunciation is avoiding obligations because of the pain. Sattvic renunciation is doing it. Now, what we are going to discuss in the renunciation is first thing that you need to understand. Renunciation means tyaga, sannyasa, all synonymously you can use it here. Renunciation means, tyaga means, sannyasa means giving up. The question is, what is it that you give up? What are you giving up? As a human being, you have only a few things to decide. The three types of action that a human being can perform is the highest category that he is going to talk about as obligatory action is paropakara. Working, doing that which ought to be done. Second is rajasic, where you do action but not really concerned about there is no intention to benefit anybody, neither there is an intention to harm anybody. You are focusing on yourself. You don't intend to hurt anybody, you don't intend to harm anybody, neither is there an intention of the general welfare. This is rajas. The tamasic state is a negative state of intending an intention of pain to another, wanting to cause pain and suffering to another. Now, you need to broadly understand sattva, rajas and tamas in this angle. Again, I repeat. Sattva is spiritual progression. Rajasic is spiritual stagnation. Tamasic is spiritual deterioration. Sattvic means, sattva means you are progressing spiritually. Rajas means stagnation. Tamas means deterioration. Urdhvam gachanti sattvastaha, madhye tishtanti rajasaha, adho gachanti tamasaha. This is the description he gives in the Bhagavad Gita. Urdhvam gachanti sattvastaha means the sattvic people go higher and higher and higher. Madhye tishtanti rajasaha. Rajasic people go round and round in one circle. They will be caught up in a circle and they will be going round and round and round in that circle. Adho gachanti tamasaha. Adho means a lower state, the lowest state. Tamil they say adho gadi, they say. Adho gadi means he has deteriorated to a very low level. Now, what makes a person tamasic? What makes a person rajasic? What makes a person sattvic? What makes a person rajasic? Renouncing one's obligatory duties makes a person tamasic. He renounces his obligatory duties. The obligatory duties is of, actions is of a few. Nitya karma, regular duty. Naimittika karma, occasional special duty. See, these 4-5 types of action we all should know by heart. The first is Nitya karma. The second is Naimittika karma. The third is Nishiddha karma, prohibitory actions. The fourth is Kamya karma, desired an action. The fifth is Prayaschitta karma. Where you have done something wrong, you make a conscious effort to undo that. These are the 5 types of actions. The 5 types again. The first is Nitya karma. Second is Naimittika. Nitya karma means that which ought to be done. Naimittika karma, special obligatory duty, that also ought to be done. The third is Nishiddha karma, prohibitory actions. Some actions you shouldn't do. Some you should do, some you shouldn't do. The fourth one is Kamya karma, desire-ridden actions. The fifth is Prayaschitta karma. Prayaschitta karma means actions done for undoing something that you have done something and you want to undo that. That is called Prayaschitta karma. Now, what should not be done of this 5? What should not be done? Prohibited actions, Nishiddha karma should not be done. Whatsoever the temptation is, whatsoever you are tempted by, these prohibitory actions should not be done. Kamya karma, we don't say okay to do, but you are at a level where you need to do it. They kind of allow it. In the process, you do a lot of wrong things, some prayaschitta karma. When you are doing this kamya karma and prayaschitta karma, what is left behind? This nitya and naimittika. So what the rajasic person does, the rajasic person will perform kamya karma. The tamasic person will perform nishiddha karma. Sattvic person does obligatory nitya naimittika. So once you understand these broad categories, once you understand these broad classifications of action, then it becomes easy to go and understand the sattvic, rajasic and tamasic tyaga, renunciation. Because renunciation, he is not talking about renouncing objects and beings. You need to make a very important note here. He is not talking about renouncing action. He is not talking about renouncing objects, renouncing beings. He is talking about renunciation specific only to action. The sattvic, rajasic and tamasic tyaga, renunciation, all these three is discussed. Note, it is related only to action. It is not related to you giving up some object, you giving up some being. And yet, how many ever times we hear this, we still go back thinking tyaga means, renunciation means giving up some objects, giving up some beings. He says, never in the list of sattvic, rajasic and tamasic renunciation, he brings about giving up of objects and beings. He says, performance of obligation. Now, one of the important things that you need to note when you are studying a shastra, when you are studying a scripture like Bhagavad Gita, is the context of the scripture needs to be kept in mind all the time. If you don't remember the context, you will be completely misunderstood. You will misunderstand the shastras completely. Not only you will misunderstand, the entire shastra will look so contradictory. What they say at one stage, what they say as do at one stage, they say do not do at another stage. What they praise and glorify at one stage, they ridicule and denounce at another stage. Now, unless you know the context to whom it is spoken. What is the context? Always remember, the context is the spiritual level of the student is the context. Concepts, this is not a science class. This is not a mathematics class where irrespective of the level of the student, everything is taught. Here, the ideas, what to be done, what not to be done, all this is discussed in the context of the spiritual level of a person. Now, what is the context of Bhagavad Gita? The context of Bhagavad Gita is Arjuna, an active person. Since he is talking in the context of Arjuna, an active person, he restricts everything to that active person category. Therefore, he talks about Tyaga as in the context of action. When we go to the discussing the Jnanam part, which is far above the level of Arjuna, he will talk something else. But then your point is, anga onnu solrar, inga onnu solrar, mati, why is he contradicting himself so much? Now, what you need to understand is, he is not contradicting so much. This is how the knowledge is taught. You need to understand the knowledge in the context. And what is the context here? The context is the spiritual level of the student, the receptivity. Now, in our sessions, we are not concerned about the spiritual level of anybody, for we really do not know anybody. See, I really don't know anybody there. Therefore, what do we do? In this classroom here, we take a very theoretical approach and we assume that there is a growth sometimes and we speak. We assume that there is no growth sometimes and we speak. Now, you should understand Bhagavad Gita is not a Wednesday evening class given to Arjuna. It's not a generalized talk. He's talking something very specific to Arjuna. So the context of Bhagavad Gita is Arjuna. The context of Upanishad is that student. So the definitions also, the ideas, what to be done, what ought not to be done, all this will be spoken in the backdrop, in the context of the student. And generally we divide the student into two categories. Prepared one, not so well prepared. Not so well prepared needs Karma Yoga. Those who are well prepared needs Jnana Yoga. Now, Arjuna is not a well prepared person. So, Arjuna wants to, what Arjuna wants to do in the name of Tyaga, in the name of Sannyasa? Arjuna wants to give up and go and sit in one corner. He wants to practice something which he is not yet qualified to practice. That is why traditionally we always do the practices under the guidance of the Guru. You don't do anything by yourself. And nowadays this Guru Sishya thing and all is not so much. Very rarely here and there you find a Guru, and for that Guru to find a Sishya is that much more difficult, because disciples are less, Gurus are more nowadays. For every one disciple there are 10 Gurus. Yeah. Marketing la romba kashtam irukku ipo. Yeah, to market and to keep the flock alive is very difficult nowadays. Avlo gurus irundha what to do? You don't do the practice by yourself. Why you don't do the practice by yourself is because you do not know where you stand. Also, you will be misunderstanding the advice and you will start practicing that which you shouldn't be practicing. Now, what Arjuna wants to do in the Bhagavad Gita, he wants to practice that for which he is not qualified to practice. What is it that Arjuna wants to practice? He wants to go and sit in a corner all by himself. A person can sit all by himself only when they are prepared. Lockdown 144 nu potadana we are inside. If that 144 is not there, diseases are there, be careful. Now all the fellow will be on the All the fellows will be on the streets only. For we are in need of action. When we say we means the student who is not yet well prepared. So for the student who is not yet well prepared, what he should do? He should do a lot of karma yoga. So he defines sattvic renunciation as synonymous to karma yoga. So he says, what is sattvic renunciation, Arjuna? Perform karma yoga. Don't worry about giving up, sitting in one corner, meditation, nididhyasanam and aham brahmasmi and all. Don't try all that. Do this. But then your argument will be, somewhere else it is ridiculed. No, sir. Somewhere else they said all this is useless. No. Either you will hold on to it or you will discard it as useless. So, a very few pseudo-duplicate Vedantins who have not yet fully evolved to the discussion of this jnanam, what they do, they discard the karma portion also. So, neither they do the karma portion rightly, nor are they qualified for jnanam properly. To which category they belong to? Where you will fit that fellow? In which category you will fit that fellow? Tamasic category. That's what he is saying. That fellow, tamasic renunciation is relinquishment of obligatory duty out of delusion. Are you able to follow the sequence? He relinquishes the obligatory duties out of delusion. What is the delusion? I am not yet a prepared student. How do I know that I am not yet a prepared student? How do I know? Class vandale doesn't mean there is a preparation. Listening and revisiting the classes again and again doesn't make a person prepared. What is the preparation? How do you know that you are prepared? Do you have the qualifications? Adhikaritvam. Do you have the necessary prescribed qualifications? The prescribed qualification is what he discusses in Atma Bodha. Verse number 1 of Atma Bodha discusses the preparatory qualifications for jnanam. If you don't have this preparatory qualifications for jnanam, what you need to do? You need to do karma. Now what here tamasic renunciation means? What is obligatory action for Arjuna? Obligatory action for Arjuna is performance of action. Now what he wants to do? He wants to practice renunciation of action. Okay, he can practice renunciation of action, but what will happen to him? Wherever he goes, he will be doing the same thing, no? Yeah. You can go and manage a place in 3-piece suit. You can go and manage a place in a formals. You can go and manage a place wearing ochre robe. All are one and the same. The changing the robe doesn't make a person different. Some of the ashrams, you have kitchen in charge Swami, ticket booking Swami. Now the activity continues, but changing the robe, that person hasn't become a sannyasi as yet. Therefore, what does tamasic renunciation means? Tamasic renunciation means not doing that which you ought to do out of delusion. What is delusion? Carefully follow now. Either you pitch yourself far above your capacity, That is delusion. Either you pitch yourself far above your capacity. That is one way of delusion. Another way of delusion is you say, in the Gita itself it is said, in the Shastras itself it is said not to do. Ultimately we have to give up everything, no sir. That is, if you have prepared and come to that height only, no. Ultimately we have to leave the hospital, no sir. Therefore, why enter the hospital? Ultimately, you have to leave the hospital. Therefore, entering the hospital itself is not required. You need to enter and then you need to leave. So, what is tamasic renunciation means? Are you able to follow? Tamasic renunciation means relinquishing something because of you over pitching your capacity. You overpitch your capacity because of your delusion. Because of delusion, you overpitch your capacity. Therefore, you relinquish your obligatory actions. Or what he calls as the devil quoting the scriptures. Either way, not doing that which you ought to do out of delusion, he calls it as tamasic renunciation. So, tamasic renunciation is not doing one's nitya naimittika karma. Nitya naimittika karma. If you are not doing your nitya naimittika karma out of delusion, here the person can't say, I didn't know. Ignorance. That's why he says, relinquishment of obligatory action not out of ignorance. Relinquishment of obligatory action out of delusion. Ignorant person means you can teach him, he will start doing. A tamasic person is not an ignorant person, he is a deluded person. Therefore, because of delusion, he relinquishes. Now, what is the difference between delusion and ignorance? I have differentiated any number of times and it is worth differentiating again. Ignorant person means he knows that he doesn't know. He says, I am ignorant. Ignorant person means he knows that he doesn't know. You can teach him because he will come and ask, I don't know. Who is a deluded person? A deluded person is one who thinks he knows when he actually doesn't know. Now here he is using the words very carefully. He is not saying out of ignorance. He is saying out of ignorance. He is saying out of delusion. Sign of delusion is the incapacity to listen to anybody. There are people, after doing, they come and tell me, this is what I did, sir. This is what I did, sir. Now, after doing, telling, what will I do? That is delusion. The incapacity to listen is tamas. This is what delusion is all about. Are you able to follow? An ignorant person will ask. So here, a person of tamasic nature, relinquishing obligation, you shouldn't say out of ignorance, you should say out of delusion. And know the difference between ignorance and understand the difference between ignorance and delusion. I go to the doctor and I say, I don't know what my disease is. Doctor, that is one ignorant fellow. A fellow goes to the doctor and says, this is the disease and this is the cure. Give me the prescription. Now, he is deluded. You can't say he is ignorant because he thinks he He knows. Now, who is the tamasic category here? Never say tamasic person is ignorant. Say tamasic person is, say a tamasic person is a deluded person. So out of delusion, he renounced. This is as far as tamasic renunciation is concerned. Now comes rajasic renunciation. Rajasic renunciation is giving up action. What type of action? Obligatory action. Giving up obligatory action because it is painful, out of fear of bodily strain or suffering. In such cases, what will happen? One would take up the action when the element of pain or fear of suffering is removed. Giving up action because of a pain. Now, Arjuna here is not renouncing out of pain. He is not afraid of the battlefield. He is not afraid of the pain of battlefield. He is not renouncing because of the fear of pain. He is not saying this action is too much. He is saying he is wanting to run away out of delusion. You should understand this, should be able to understand this difference. So he is renouncing out of delusion. Now, what is rajasic renunciation? Rajasic renunciation is, generally a person says, I'm a very contented person, sir. Just take it like that. Why? Because to go out and acquire things in the world and all requires hard work. So that person is fearing, he doesn't want to do that hard work. Fearing that hard work, he says, anyway, all cars are one and the same, no sir. Ella car enna sir irukudhu? 4-wheel and one engine. Same car, if comes at a lower price, this will be the first fellow to go on acquire it. It means his renunciation is rajasic in nature. He renounces because of the pain involved in it. பெரிய வீடெல்லாம் வேணா sir. Who will maintain it? People say, no, I don't know, big houses, it's a big problem, sir. Why? Who will maintain it? Supposing if there are 3 servants, it's that fellow will be okay to buy a house. When that person says, I don't need a big house, he is not renouncing. It is called rajasic renunciation because of the fear of the fear of action. The fear of action, the pain of action. Both drives a person to give up. If a person does that, that person is called, that kind of renunciation is called rajasic in nature. Now, what is sattvic renunciation means? Sattvic renunciation is wonderful. What is sattvic renunciation? Performing obligatory duties and responsibilities. Few conditions are put. When you fulfill these few conditions, you are performing sattvic renunciation. Now, what are the few conditions? The first thing is performance of obligatory duties only. It is not a mixture of obligatory duties and kamya karma. It is not a mixture of obligatory duties and desire-ridden activities. Sattvic renunciation means performance of obligatory duties only. First condition. Second condition is no preferential attachment to action performed. Obligatory action, it ought to be done, I do it, whether I like it or not. I do it because I like to do this, sir. I like to go to this temple because I like this temple. You don't go to a temple because you like the temple. I like Balaji temple, therefore I go. I don't like the next street Ganesha temple. I will not go there. No, it is not. It is not doing the right thing. Going to the temple is doing the right thing. Are you able to follow? Going to temple is doing the right thing. But again, you don't do it based on your likes and dislikes, with no preferential attachment to doing. The third thing is unconcerned about the result. What will I get out of it? When these conditions are fulfilled, it is known as performing sattvic renunciation. In other words, sattvic renunciation in the context of personality chart, 18th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, sattvic renunciation, in other words, is nothing but doing karma yoga, doing yajna karma. He's just somehow he wants Arjuna to do the right thing. So he's trying various, because Arjuna is asking that in the 18th chapter, Arjuna asks a question. What is sannyasa and what is tyaga? Krishna says both are one and the same. What is your question? Sannyasa also means renunciation. Tyaga also means renunciation, giving up. What are you asking, Arjuna? Dictionary? I am going to refer the dictionary if you want to know the difference between. What is the difference? There is no difference at all at your preparatory level. At your preparatory level, what does sattvic renunciation means? At your preparatory level, sattvic renunciation means doing that which ought to be done, whether you like it or not. A few things come into this. Doing that which ought to be done, whether you like it or not, at the right time and the right place. All that is implied here. I liked, this is what I ought to do, sir, but can I do it next week? Can I do it next year? You can't. So sattvic renunciation is performance of obligatory action, whether you like it or not. What is implied here? The right time, the right place is implied here. See, all this is implied here. Now, that which is implied, I am trying to elaborate. So, obligatory action, that which ought to be done. So, first thing is, do that which ought to be done. Nitya naimittika karma, do that which ought to be done. The second thing is, you do whether you like it or not. Obligatory actions liye I can't pick and choose. If it ought to be done, it ought to be done. That's it. Whether you like it or not. Whether I like it or not, okay, sir, but can I do it tomorrow? Can I do it next week? No. It ought to be done at the right time, at the right place. Idallam panna, what will I get? Okay, sir, if I do all this, what will I get? Renouncing the fruit also. Doing that which ought to be done without a preferential attachment to the doing, and renouncing the fruit of action. If you renounce the fruit of action itself, Arjuna, I consider you as a man of renunciation, he says. Even if you can renounce the fruit of action and act, I would consider you as a man of renunciation. Why? Because it is difficult to renounce the fruit. Why it is difficult to renounce the fruit is because the mind believes action is done only to get what I want. This is ignorance. This is the ignorance behind action. The jnanam behind action is obligatory. Action is obligatory. Action is obligatory. Obligatory means, now, if you are wise and your intellect is strong, you can decide it by yourself. Carefully follow. If you are wise and if you have a powerful intellect, you can decide it by yourself. Till that time, what you need to do, you follow what is said in the Shastras. Tasmat Shastram Pramanam te Karya Akarya Vyavastitau. Elsewhere in the earlier chapters of the Gita, he says Tasmat Shastram Pramanam te Karya Akarya Vyavastitau. Let Shastram be the authority, Arjuna. You don't decide. Right now you can't decide. Why you can't decide now? Because if you decide now, you will decide based on your likes and dislikes only. And any decision that is made on likes and dislikes doesn't fit into the category of obligatory actions. Therefore, you can't choose something based on your likes and dislikes and then call it as obligation. Obligation means the higher entity fixes it. The higher entity means your own intellect or Shastra, which plays the role of the intellect from outside. See, understand this. Either way, you are guided by the intellect only. If you don't have an intellect, Shastra will play the role of the intellect from outside till you develop your intellect. It is like the crutches helping you for a while till you develop your own muscles and start walking on your own. Now, how much ever the crutches are comfortable, you need to develop your own. You need to develop your own muscles and start walking by yourself only. But you cannot start with it. You cannot start with it. Over a period of time, you may end up in this level. You may end up here. And how do you do this? You don't decide what ought to be done, what ought not to be done by yourself. You take the guidance of the Shastras. But sir, if I don't know what Shastras is, what will I do? Yeah, that is the next question. Sir, if I don't know what Shastras is, what will I do? That you cannot say now. Because? That you cannot say now. Why? Because? Why you can't say that now? Why you can't say, I don't know what Shastra is? You can't say that now. Why? Because now you know it. Now you know it means you have done enough Shravana to know it. Now you know it. So what you need to do? You need to follow that. But sir, what happens to those who don't know? அவங்கெல்லாம் என்ன சார் பண்ணுவாங்க? That you need not worry. Just as this knowledge came to you, knowledge will go to them also. Suddenly you need not worry about the entire society having Vedantic knowledge. Just as the knowledge came to you, the knowledge will go to them also. See, why I am giving all these explanations is because somewhere down the line, we want to excuse ourselves from doing the obligatory actions, which you cannot avoid. Therefore, the idea is Do your obligatory actions. Do your obligatory actions. When you do your obligatory actions, do not be attached to anything in. Don't allow your likes and dislikes to interfere after that. Do not allow your likes and dislikes to interfere after that. Do not be attached to the results either. I am doing my obligation, sir. Am I growing? Am I growing? Am I growing? Where do I stand in the spiritual ladder, sir? If these questions you ask, you have come down in the spiritual ladder. Because sattvic renunciation means performance of obligation, not whether you like it or not. What is implied here, whether you like it or not, at the right time, at the right place, unconcerned about the result. If you do like this, what happens? That's what I said in the beginning. The sattvic person keeps growing. The sattvic person keeps growing. Urdhvam gachanti sattvastaha, madhye tishtanti rajasaha, adho gachanti tamasaha. This is the three: the sattvic renunciation, rajasic renunciation, and tamasic renunciation. To put it very simply, understand sattvic renunciation is karma yoga, yajna karma. Rajasic renunciation is giving up karma yoga, giving up yajna karma because of ரொம்ப கஷ்டமா இருக்கே சார் பண்றது, எவ்வளவு நேரம் இதை பண்ணினே இருக்கிறது. Giving up yajna karma yoga because of pain is rajasic renunciation. What is tamasic renunciation? Not even knowing that there is a thing called obligatory action. Not even knowing that there is a thing called karma yoga I have to perform. That is tamasic. Rajasic is I will perform karma yoga once environment becomes conducive, sir. எனக்கு இப்ப இருக்கிற நிலைமையில I can't do it because environment is not conducive. Environment is not conducive என்ன அர்த்தம்? வீட்ல நான் கோஆபரேஷன், ஆபீஸ்ல நான் கோஆபரேஷன், in the road also non cooperation, traffic jam. I don't know. இல்ல வீட்டை விட்டு வெளில வந்து 60 days ஆச்சு, I really don't know what is happening. Road. Renouncing karma yoga out of ignorance is tamas. Renouncing karma yoga because of the pain involved in it is rajas. Doing it without any appendages is sattvic. Understand it like that. It becomes that much easy to know what is the sattvic, rajasic, tamasic renunciation is all about. Is it okay till now? Sattvic, rajasic, and tamasic renunciation. The definitions. Rajasic person says, I will do it provided I get he knows that he has to do. Understand the difference. Tamasic person doesn't even know that he has to do. Rajasic person knows that he has to do, but he is not doing it. Why? Because it is painful. Are you able to understand the difference? A tamasic person doesn't even know it. A rajasic person knows it, but he still doesn't do. Why he doesn't do? Because of the pain involved in it. What is the pain involved? The mind doesn't cooperate, the body doesn't cooperate. Raga dveshas are not supporting. Kama, krodha, lobha, moha, mada, matsarya, bhaya. All this is coming and confusing that person and says, don't do, அவங்க எல்லாம் இப்படிதான் மோட்டிவேஷனலா பேசுவாங்க. Don't get carried away by what they talk in the class and start doing karma yoga எல்லாம். Do it whenever possible. Now these are all rajasic. What is sattvic? Doing that which performing yajna karma is sattvic renunciation. Tamasic renunciation means not even knowing that there is a thing called yajna karma. Ignorant. He is so deluded. Rajasic person knows that he has to do and still he doesn't do. Why? Because of the pain involved. Sattvic person has the courage to say whether it is painful or not, whether it is environment supporting, not supporting, others supporting, not supporting, the raga dvesha, the kama krodha lobha moha mada matsarya bhaya supporting, not supporting. I dismiss everything and do that which I ought to do is known as sattvic renunciation. Seriya? With this, we have concluded the discussion on personality chart. With this, we have concluded the discussion on personality chart as in sattvic, rajasic, tamasic renunciation. There is a few clarifications which I'll take it up. In which category, from Srikanth, in which category does the ignorant person fit in, uncle? In which category does the ignorant person fit in, Jeev? Ignorant person fit into the category of Rajas. Because the definition of tamas we give is deluded. When we say tamas is a state where he doesn't know and he doesn't know that he doesn't know. Ignorant person is one who says, one who understands he doesn't know and he knows that he doesn't know. That is the difference between an ignorant person and a deluded person. A deluded person is one who is ignorant and who doesn't know that he is ignorant. That is tamasic category. A rajasic category is one who is ignorant and he knows that he is ignorant. Sattvic person knows. So here if you take the English dictionary, ignorance and delusion and all will be very synonymously will be used. Now in the category of tamas and rajas, we don't use them synonymously, bring in a distinct category. Purida? A distinct category is for tamasic state, use the word deluded, moha. For tamasic, you use the word moha, deluded. What does delusion means? He doesn't even know that he doesn't know. A person who doesn't know that he doesn't know behaves as though he knows. No, he will start behaving as though he knows. That's tamasic category. Rajasic category, one who knows that he doesn't know will be very confused. Sign of ignorance is a confusion. He will come and ask, sir, ore confusion irukudhu, what I should do, what I should not do, tell me that. That is the ignorant state. In the rajasic category, in the tamasic category, a person is deluded. Deluded means he doesn't know. For example, I do not know engineering. I know that I am ignorant of engineering, and if I am interested in engineering, I can make an effort to gain the knowledge. Purida? Another thing is, I don't know that I do not know anything about engineering, and I think I know everything about it. This is called delusion. This is called delusion. See, today, if you look at the all the social media, 98% of it is delusion only. 98% of it is delusion. It is not ignorance. It is delusion, because everybody is so categorical there. Everybody is so categorical. Everybody is shouting on top of their voice. Nobody wants to listen to anybody else. Even if they want to listen, they listen only to prove how the other person is wrong. Now you don't call this as we don't call this as rajas. We call this as tamas. Solda.
ஒரு ரஜசிக் பர்சன் வந்து இன்னொருத்தர் கிட்ட வந்து இக்னரண்டா இருக்கிறதுனால டவுட் கேட்பாங்க.
எஸ்.
அதனால அவங்க வந்து ஈகோயிஸ்டிக்கா இருக்க மாட்டாங்க. அப்ப ரஜசிக் கேட்டகரியில இருக்கிற எல்லாருமே ஈகோ இல்லாம தான் இருப்பாங்களா இல்ல?
No, he also has ego. Don't bring an ego here. A rajasic person also has an ego. But there is a difference between the two. Both the tamasic fellow ku ego irukku, rajasic fellow ku ego irukku. Both have ego. But the difference is the rajasic fellow can humble himself and ask. It's not that he doesn't have ego. He can humble his ego and ask. Yes, a tamasic person cannot do that. Tamasic person will not humble himself. He will say, "Ella enak theriyum," he will say. Oh, Vedanta la enak theriyum sir. Idella Vedanta na ella enak theriyum. What is Vedanta? Karmanyevadikaraste. Adana sir. I know Bhagavad Gita. Now what to do? You follow? This is tamas. So an ignorant person also has an ego, but he can humble himself and ask. Tamasic person also has that ego, and he is stubborn also. So there is a difference. Purida? Huh? Right. Now, clarification from, right da. Okay, Vada? Okay, at the question porampu. I am going to the next clarification. Is intuition from Bala? Need clarification on the terms. Is intuition synonymous to intellect? Intuition is not synonymous to intellect. Of the very functions, of the very many functions of the intellect, intuition is one. What is intuition? Intuition is digested knowledge. Intuition is digested knowledge which comes to you in a flash. Now, if you are using intuition in the mystical sense, there is no such thing called intuition at all in that sense. Intuitively, I know people say all that is a play of the mind. Intuition is a function of the intellect. So you can't say it as synonymous to intellect. Of the very many functions of the intellect, intuition is one. What is the equivalent Sanskrit word for intuition? The Sanskrit word for intuition is it's called Pratibha. We had a president, no, Pratibha Patil, no?
Yes.
Pratibha na enna artham? Very intuitive person artham. Far away from intuition, no? So what is the so so the Sanskrit word for intuition is pratibha. Is instinct synonymous to raga dvesha? Is the first one okay, Bala? Intuition and intellect.
ஒரு சின்ன clarification sir.
Yes, yes.
Okay. See, nowadays it's a lot of Western thoughts are also put into our minds. So that's why I said that it's a Vedanta la irka appadinu first clarification ketta. You mentioned, you clarified it. It's a function. One of the functionality of the way intellect exhibits is via intuition. Appadinu soninga. That I understand.
Yes.
The clarification I need is and the flash in soninga that so strikes me because there are two definitions that I see. One definition is, as you said, is that the decision making or whatever that thought comes directly memory or from the knowledge, the memory getting digested and becomes knowledge and all that. Directly that is tapped. So in that process, what happens is the 3 R's that you mentioned in earlier class, those are kind of bypassed, or maybe they go through in a like a very extremely high speed velocity.
They go through in a very high speed velocity. They go through. Correct. You can't bypass that.
Okay, so you cannot bypass that. That was my question. Is it true that it can be bypassed, or 3 R's will come into picture?
3 R's will come into the picture. You cannot bypass it. See, that is where people give a lot of like the clairvoyance. They give a lot of mysticism to this intuition.
Exactly, sir.
Yes, as though intuition is something from outside saying. It is not like that. It is not like number stories la the Puranic stories la vara ashariri madri kediyadu idella.
Okay.
It is not all that. Today they have brought in intuition and all to the level of we have this thing, no, the Puranic stories, ashariri come and saying something and all.
Correct.
Now it doesn't. Now for a child that is all right. In reality, that doesn't
work. Okay.
It doesn't work that way.
Okay.
That is why intuition is digested knowledge.
Okay.
A person who has that, let us say, take a surgeon who has an extraordinary experience and digested knowledge in his field. He sees and he instantly knows, no?
Correct.
Now, we can't say it is intuitive. We say it is intuitive, but it is come out of
extensive practice. So intuition, if it is understood as a part of an effort where you have done so much of effort and now it has turned effortless, and if you mean that as intuition, Vedanta talks about it. Okay.
So much of effort has done in the past and today it looks effortless. We say intuitive. We mean intuition in that sense. Now we don't mean intuition as in a oracle or mysticism or something in that category. We don't do, because that is mind's play.
Okay. So what you're saying, in other words, is something that the intuitive thought will be a result of the 3 R's, which is practically that something the sense organs or indriyas have experienced in the past. And the byproduct that ash is whatever you mentioned, that is will be the result.
Yes,
it has to be a byproduct of something that has already happened.
Yes,
that has
correct.
Experienced
Yes,
by the indriyas.
Yes. It has to be a byproduct of something which has already happened, means in his field of activity.
Okay.
A doctor can never become intuitive in the law area, in the field of activity of law.
Okay.
A lawyer can never become intuitive in the field of medicine, no, or engineering.
Okay.
It doesn't work that way. It is against the law of cause and effect. It doesn't work that way.
Okay. In that case scenario, don't mistake me. Like, for example, mathematician Ramanujamla, people say he is so much Padmatitayar, he is so much spiritually advanced, and because of that, when he is sleeping, he gets a formula in his an intuitive thought flash. He started writing the formula.
That is That is a story. That is the story which we really don't know about it. All that we know about Ramanujam is only one thing. What? He is a prodigy.
Okay.
Only that much is real. Rest of the things are appendages added.
Okay.
Now all that is depends upon now this like they say Einstein is a school dropout. Now prodigies do exist, and the existence of prodigy is also not out of luck or somebody blessed them to be a prodigy. It is their hard work.
Okay.
So intuition is always a product of hard work only. There is no mystical element involved in it.
Excellent. Okay.
There is there is no mystical element at all involved in it. Seriya?
Excellent. Thank you. Okay. Now instinct.
Is instinct synonymous to raga dvesha? Now it depends upon how we use the word instinct. Instinct we equate most of the time to the body. The instincts of the body, as in food, clothing, shelter, hunger, sleep, procreation, those kind of things is what we generally refer to as instinct. When it comes to the mind, we refrain from using the word instinct. Why we refrain from using the word instinct is because in instinct there is an element of fixation which cannot be modified.
Okay.
In the word instinct, there is a fixation which cannot be changed or modified.
Okay.
But when it comes to raga dvesha, it can be completely, since it can be completely changed, directly you can become an opposite person. We don't call it as an instinct. That is the difference.
Okay.
So instinct means that which is fixed in a very, within the boundary only I can walk. That is instinct.
Okay.
Now raga dvesha means I can cross that boundary and become exactly the opposite. It means it doesn't fit under the category of instinct. Therefore, in Vedanta we will not use instinct synonymous with raga dvesha.
Excellent. So I will understand this way. Please correct me if I am going to be on fasting, upavasam
Yes.
also.
Yes.
Then my autonomous whatever my nervous system will trigger a sensation of hunger.
Yes.
That will be an instinct. At the
Yes.
body level, but
Correct.
the raga desha will force me to eat something. Upavas and all that. Just
Correct.
eat something rather.
Just correct.
That is raga desha.
Correct.
Then my intellect, the buddhi has to come and say no, ignore
Yes.
the instinct, and
Yes.
that is sattvic.
Yes.
So that's
Correct.
a different.
That is the difference. Now, hunger as such I can never conquer. As long as I am alive, the body will feel hungry. That is instinct.
Okay.
But raga dvesha can be conquered completely.
Excellent. Using intellect.
Yes, using the intellect. Since I can conquer that completely, I will not call it as instinct at all. I will call it as that which can be modified, changed. Now, I cannot conquer hunger. I can manage my hunger. No.
Correct.
That's all I can do. But then, because instinct can be managed, that's all. Raga dvesha can be transcended completely. Therefore, we don't use the word instinct at all in Vedanta. Is it okay, Bala?
Yes, sir. The equivalent has Sanskrit, if you don't mind. Is it there or? Instinct. I'm just curious. Instinct.
I am not able to.
It's okay.
I'm not able to remember now. There should be a word. There should be a word, but I'm not able to remember now.
Okay. Thank you.
I will. Once I get it, I will WhatsApp you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
And then, if Vedanta cannot address the tamasic, Vedanta is not addressed. Okay. Now another question is, earlier you mentioned Vedanta is not addressed to tamasic person. Today Arjuna seems to be a classical tamasic person filled with delusion. If true, interesting to see the rest of Gita still is addressed to this tamasic person. So question is, if Vedanta cannot address the tamasic person, who else will help this person? This becomes like the classic chicken egg problem. Infinite loop of rebirths won't help. Something is missing here. Correct. See, what is happening in the case of Arjuna is a predominantly Rajasic person. Arjuna is not a predominantly Tamasic person. But his tamas is very predominant in the area of sannyas only. Whatever tamas he has, that is very predominant in the area of sannyas. That is why he wants to run away from that. Arjuna is not a tamasic person. Arjuna is a predominantly rajasic person. Whatever tamoguna he has, which is of a very good proportion of tamoguna he has, and he is so stuck in that tamoguna of sannyasa, 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 I will not fight, I will not fight, I will not fight. He is so stuck in that, but still he can be helped because the rajoguna is making him to ask questions again and again and again. Are you able to follow?
Yes. Yeah.
Though he is stuck, the rajoguna is making him to ask questions again and again and again. Therefore, he can be helped. A Arjuna type of person can be helped. Supposing if he has just put the bow and arrow down and he walked out of the chariot. Imagine the scenario. Arjuna put the bow and arrow down, jumped out of the chariot and walked out of the battlefield. Now Krishna cannot call that Arjuna and give Bhagavad Gita discourse, no?
Correct. Okay.
So in that sense, a tamasic person cannot be helped. Then who will help this tamasic person? The knocks and shocks of life wakes this person up. A tamasic person wakes up through the knocks and shocks of life. Shankha, Chakra, Gada, Padma. Vishnu, Chaturbhuja Vishnu, no? We have four hands, he has four things, no?
Correct.
This Gada and Chakra is symbolic of the painful ways of life.
Okay.
Padma is symbolic of the goal of liberation. Shankh, the conch, represents the conscience, what we call as the conscience. Now, when a person doesn't adhere to these two, every now and then he will give one gada, one knock on the head with the gada, and that also doesn't work for someone. First, small problems, and then if he doesn't wake up, a something which shakes him up from the root.
Okay.
This is how nature helps the tamasic person.
Okay.
It is very painful to give this answer, but it is the truth as far as tamasic person. You have everything with you and you know that person is suffering, but still you cannot help him. Why? Because he is not
listening.
He is not listening. He is not listening. Because he is so deluded that he can't listen. He is so deluded that he cannot listen. Therefore, Vedanta through logic and reason and explanation and all that can talk to a person like Arjuna. See, Arjuna has been constantly asking questions, 700 verses. Arjuna consistently asking questions. Though he is stubborn on one side, he is still asking questions also.
Okay.
Therefore, he can be helped. This is the Rajasic category.
I understand. Okay.
So, Vedanta cannot address the tamasic person. Yes, Shastras don't address the tamasic person. Shastras address the Rajasic person. Not that they are given up on them. Not that they do not want to help the tamasic person or they have given up on the tamasic person. They are not available.
Okay. Okay.
If nothing works, pain only, no?
Correct.
Now, whether I like it or not, I have to sit inside my house only. Because the rule is put. Supposing I walk out saying, I can't sit in my house, and if I go out, compassion cannot be shown to that fellow. No.
Correct. Okay.
That is what tamasic is. That is what the state of tamas is.
Okay.
I go mad sitting inside the house. Therefore, I will go for a walk outside. And if the person says that and goes out, what would you categorize that person as? How would you treat that person?
Understand. Okay. Okay.
With all compassion, you give him 2 whacks, no?
Okay.
That's how that's what nature does, and wakes the person up. Are you okay?
Thank you. Yes. So this to summarize, you to in the path of sattvic, the person needs to at least have predominantly rajasika irukano.
Yes. Yes. Predominant rajasika irukano. Yes. Predominant rajasika irukano, and there will be a very good proportion of tamas in him.
Tamas, that will fade away slowly.
Yes, that will fade away slowly. Correct. Exactly correct.
Okay.
That will fade away slowly. Exactly correct.
Excellent. Thank you. The whole concept of renunciation, to summarize, the way I understood is that the sattvic seems to be a forward gear in a way.
Yes, correct.
Rajasic seems to be a neutral gear. He's stuck in a loop of pain and fire.
Yes, correct.
Tamasic is a reverse gear.
பின்னாடி போயிட்டு இருக்கான். கரெக்ட். அதுதான் சான்ஸ்கிரிட் வேர்ட்ஸ். Yes, exactly correct. ऊर्ध्वं गच्छन्ति सत्त्वस्थाः मध्ये तिष्ठन्ति राजसाः अधो गच्छन्ति तामसाः. भगवद्गीताல he says this. சரியா?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. Vijay, sir, as you have mentioned, no mysticism and all. In the as far as the example of Ramanujan is concerned, how about Ramana Maharshi's evolution occurred? He practiced at most silence, didn't go to any university, no knowledge, no nothing. Now, is it not mystical for Ramana Maharshi? To us, it looks mystical. Ask him. See, to us, Sachin Tendulkar's level of game looks mystical. You go and ask Sachin Tendulkar, what will he say? He says it is out of effort. Now, the effortlessness is what we see. The effortlessness is what we see, and we find it so difficult to do that, to practice that, and that effortlessness that we see make us to believe that there is a mystical support. Are you able to follow? Effortlessness comes out of much effort. Understand this law. When you see somebody performing something effortless, what do you need to understand? Effortlessness comes out of much effort. Effortlessness doesn't come out of something else. What is the much effort? He puts in the hard work, and he doesn't have the ego that he is a hard worker. That's instinct. That's where he is slightly above others. He's putting in the hard work and doesn't have the ego to say, I am the hard worker. That's what makes him effortless. So effortlessness comes out of much effort. Now, when we see a Ramana Maharshi, or when we see anybody, we call them as effortless. And why we call that effortless? Because I am trying so hard, I can't even go 1% near that, and that person is doing it so effortlessly. What will be your conclusion? So, effort தவிர வேற ஏதோ ஒன்னு அவங்களுக்கு தனியா ஹெல்ப் பண்றது சார். Vedanta comes and says that extra thing is common for everybody. That God is common for everybody. That God's support is common for everybody. In the case of a few, it is expressed. That's all. It is manifested. Seriya, Vijay?
Okay, sir.
Are you able to follow?
Yes, sir.
Yeah? Yeah. Last clarification. Vishweshwar Rao has raised his hand, but yes, sir.
So
Mr. Sharma, you can speak now. Please speak.
No, sir. Just not raise your hand. Somewhere it has.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Right. Okay. No issues. No problem. No issues.
Right.
With this, we have concluded the personality chart. From next week, we will go on to session 2, practical Vedanta. There is a last paragraph. Prepare your chart. He only says use all this and you can make your chart. I will quickly read the 2 paragraphs and we will conclude for today. From next session, we will move into part B, practical Vedanta. And if you have any clarification about any of this, you bring it up next week. We'll discuss that and then we'll go into part B. So the last topic, prepare your chart. The above classification, I'm reading from the text. The above classification of different facets of action and renunciation provides the material for assessing your personality. Take up each one of them. Study it carefully. Try to match it with your nature. Thus, comparing with each one of them with your nature, you may draw your personality chart and estimate the quality of knowledge you possess, sattvic or rajasic or tamasic, the quality of action you execute, the type of actor you are, etc. All of them examined together present a clear picture of your personality. The area where sattva prevails, where rajas flourishes, and where tamas lingers. This should be of considerable help to locate the areas of your strength and weaknesses and administer corrective measures for the development of your personality. Human beings fall between 0 and 100% development. 0% would be like an inert object. 100% would be a self-realized soul. Hence, the entire range of people fall between the 2 extremities. It becomes rather difficult, if not impossible, to clearly define one's personality. The personality chart would therefore serve as a yardstick to measure your spiritual status and program your evolution. What it means is, we have discussed all this in detail. You know what all this is. You can make a rough chart about your own self. You can make a very rough chart and it shows where you will stand and it shows where you stand. Also, it tells you what needs to be done, where all corrective measures are required. You can do that. If you still need any help on this, bring it up as a clarification. We will do that next class and continue with part B, practical Vedanta. Thank you. Yes, Bala, I will cover it next week.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.